On the sidelines of IT Nation Connect 2024 in Orlando, I've had the pleasure of catching up with some very smart people for a range of chats. And on this episode, in this case, I was with Wim Kerkhoff for a second chat, actually, but this time all about marketing. He's got a hell of a lot of insights as someone who's been on the cutting edge of some pretty cool content creation and then has taken the time to learn and refine that approach. And off the back of an event he recently went to in Chicago on SaaS marketing, I thought I'd hit him with a whole bunch of questions so I could learn a ton, and hopefully you do too. On the sidelines of IT Nation Connect here in Orlando, I wanted to get you on to talk about an event you went to recently.
Yep.
The event was, what was it called? It was
SaaS Academy.
SaaS Academy, okay.
Yeah.
It was in Chicago, was it?
That was in Chicago.
Right.
So the program is
Okay.
SaaS Academy, and then so it's like a monthly program, coaching and blueprints, and include these intensive. So SaaS Academy intensive,
Yeah.
different cities.
Right.
Sometimes in Canada, mostly in the US, East and West Coast.
Okay. And in this case, though, it was all about, you came away pretty pumped about how to get more value out of your marketing efforts, how to drive greater
The
return.
theme for this one was all marketing. Like the next one is product, but this one is all
Okay.
marketing, and really that comes down to content.
Yeah, right. So, all right, well, let's frame this chat then as ultimately you're a person who has done quite a lot of work in the content space. You lost interest due to lack of clear attribution or what you felt was a return. In my business right now, this is our content thing, right? We've
Yep.
come over here to America to get lots more content.
Yep.
So we're both in the same boat that we want to make it work.
Yeah.
We see the value, but it's the how. So what were some of the key takeaways from that talk that you went to, or that conference that you went to? What did they say were the common problems, and did you feel that they related to the ones you had?
What I took away from that is that we've been busy, but without the right strategy. And you can have a whole marketing team. You can have 5-10 people doing blogging and SEO and all sorts of stuff, but there's just a few linchpins in there that really unlocks it. So for example, I'll just talk about our podcast. I've done 20 episodes and it was fun. I bring on guests and we have a great chat. But then I felt like I wasn't getting results. It was a shiny object. I'm like, I'm busy. Let's just pause this for now, right? I'll wait till I got time again.
Yeah.
But I realized I didn't have the strategy, which is start with video because you can repurpose it. But then, okay, what are you going to talk about? Like, what are your titles for the episodes?
Yeah.
And that should come back to your target client, your ideal client profile, understanding that.
Yeah.
Then what are the questions that are in their mind and the problems they have, and have a discussion around those. So they're like, hey, you understand me and you explain my problems better than I do.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Like a shiny mirror, right? Like,
Yeah. And I think sometimes, I'll give you an example. I worked for a company where it was a telecommunications company. Their target client, speaking of ICP, was a managed service provider, typically with 10 to 100 staff. And we, in that role, we wanted them to resell our services or refer their clients to our services. And so what we did is we got on every fortnight, I think it was, we had a subject matter expert in that domain. So it'd be someone like you, actually. You would have been a perfect guest there, and you're a great guest here too. But because they need your product, and the problem that your product solves is clearly relatable, right? And then if they already know you and they already work with you, then me talking to you legitimizes me in their eyes. If you're talking to me, I must have something to say or be someone that's trusted.
Yeah.
And then secondly, if you're on my podcast, you're going to amplify the reach of that content, right? You're going to share it on your socials. And who follows you? Your target market, who's also my target market. So for me, it was finding influencers, which I'm calling you an influencer, in that domain and leveraging that. And that was a particular sort of model that worked for me in my last role. It's not rinse and repeat, right? It's different based on your ICP, as you said. So maybe that's one of the difficulties is that every marketing problem is slightly different. So the content you create is going to need to be...
Oh, everyone's unique.
Yeah.
Every organization,
Yeah. And I think a lot of us are thinking that you can chuck on some cameras, have a chat, and then you're done. And it's not really how it works, to your point. So what were you doing with your content before now? Like what was you record it, you put it on YouTube, you embed it on your site?
I put on all the other things on the site. I wasn't actually emailing it out to my list.
Okay.
Right? And that's probably because, probably might be team and process capacity, right? We just didn't have that email engine going to repurpose. But also I'm like, hey, I brought on some of my business coaches and we had a great conversation. But does that really help our target market? Like I'm working with project managers, service managers. So talking to my executive coach, how does that really help them?
Okay.
And I'm like, the value is not there. So
and even that then, the title of the videos, the
Title is huge.
yeah, massive, because it's got to, in one snappy sentence, it's got to tell them why they should give a damn about this 10 minutes you're asking them to take, or 20 minutes or whatever. Out of interest, did your conference speak much about short form versus long form video?
Yeah, obviously, if you start with a long form video, you can always take clips out. Obviously, with help of AI, it's a lot easier to extract words or everything out of it. So generate blog posts, short form things, tweets, Instagram posts, all of that.
Yeah, that's a great goal. Actually, I haven't done that.
And the team can do that, and there's some great AI stuff. Like I use like Opus Clips, for example.
Okay.
So you can give it a half hour or an hour long podcast, and it creates like 60-second shorts out of it.
Opus Clips. Okay.
Right.
We don't use that.
With AI. And it does that. You give it the YouTube link, and in 15 minutes, you got like 20 shorts ready to go.
Nice. What cadence is the right cadence in your opinion, particularly on LinkedIn? Like, how often should you be posting a short to link them back to some long form?
I haven't totally tested it or gotten results on LinkedIn, but from what I've read, you got to be posting every day. It's just that's how the algorithm works, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're posting all the time, and then you use your best posts, and then you can actually promote that. That's what one of the speakers last week recommended. Like, he's tested this; it's scientific. So it's a circle, right? Because you start with your podcast, the best performing ones, you can zoom in on that topic. The best ones go to blog to the other places. You keep using your best ones, you can boost them, and then do more in that vein, right? So just doing a lot of content. What's your top 10% content?
Yeah.
And upgrade that. Have another conversation on that.
Which is great if you've got a big enough range of subjects to talk about. If you keep zooming in too much on one thing that works, like how many different versions of that can you do? I think it's much easier for me in this role because we don't have a specific vertical, so I can talk to so many types of business problems and how we can help them through the use of technology. But in that last example I gave you, where managed service providers were a target market, I actually found myself after 60 something episodes having a lot of similar conversations, you know, a lot of same talking points coming up. So I left that role after 9 years, I think. No, 7 years. So I left before it really became a problem. But it is a problem unless the market you're working in is transforming at a certain pace. But, okay, so now that you're back in, you're going to make sure that you get your content out to your clients more effectively. You're going to follow that method around the posting daily and dialing in on what's landing, and then boost that and rinse and repeat. What else? What are the other key things?
More was whole extraction, and really extracting from the founders. I'm the founder of Top Left, so having guests on that will pull things out of me, and so I'm going to actually bring on some of my employees and say, hey, I've actually invited them to be a guest. They're kind of a host, right? And let them come with 10 or 20 questions to extract stuff that's up here that I've forgotten, that I would never really put in a video, but if they ask, it'll extract, just like you're doing now, right? It's extraction.
Totally. I'm learning. This is great.
And then obviously it's in video, and then we can put it into our, like I say, new lead sequences. So somebody opts in for a lead magnet on our website. What do we send them? Right? Oh, that should be repurposing the content out of the podcast.
Yeah, nice. So that kind of ties into the gating versus non-gating conversation. What's your view on how to approach that? And I'll just give it a little preface that every marketer wants everyone's details because they want to be able to go back to them via email, right? They want to be able to serve them that up. On the other side, people don't want to give the details because they know that's the exact point. So what would you do?
I think the awareness content should all be given away. So I'd say we should, again, I picked this up from one of my coaches, Dan Mertel, who's behind SaaS Academy.
Okay.
Which is give away your best content for free. It's not like, what are they going to do with it? Do it yourself. Like, nobody can do it themselves. They're going to come to you anyways if they see you're the expert. And out-teach rather than outspend your competition. I just really love that.
That's cool.
And I'd rather teach and do content. Obviously, I love reading in the books. I'm not in my office now, but if you see me in my office, I got a whole bookcase behind me, right?
You've obviously got an amazing recall. Like, your ability to read that much and then take bits from it and cite it almost verbatim is very impressive. Okay, so out-teach, don't outspend. So,
but it's the funnel, and it's actually the traditional funnel just goes down, right? And you close the deal and you're done. It was actually a hourglass funnel. Right? And you have awareness at the top, so you give them lots of free content. That's going to be your podcast, blogs, all of that. And you get to consideration. You could do opt-ins, and it could be a calculator, ROI calculator, an Excel tool, some sort of download. I wouldn't put a white paper in there. lot of people have white papers and it's not great content. Like just make it a blog post, right? Like guides and how-tos, like just, that should be free.
Yeah.
And then you get down to your decision or evaluation, and then your onboarding, activation, and then making them a raving fan and referring you. So you need content all the way down.
Yeah.
And that can come from your video, and you repurpose it to the right format for where they're at in that funnel.
Yeah, that's really good visualization. I hadn't seen the hourglass, but I saw that then sort of keeps going down like one of those sort of things you put at the top of the bottle, like an actual funnel. Terribly describing it, but basically, yes, that continues on past the sale for sure.
Yeah, it's not just ringing the bell and we, right? That's
such an American thing to think of, like President's Club and bell ringing. Yeah, but you're right, absolutely not. And I can give you actually a real world example of the content that we're creating really landing with existing clients to the point that we are referred. So Ross and I did had a conversation about his experience with mergers and acquisitions. We're about 8 or 9 or 10 and now I think actually, and one of our clients said, "Hey, I really like that episode. Would you mind coming presenting to a professional group that I'm in about that topic?" And so suddenly we're in front of 80 new logos potentially, having that chat, and it's all off the back of we created something of value that positioned him as an expert, and then gets him in that. So I love those stories because it's so hard to get attribution, but when you have those stories, you just go, it's actually working. Like that's the model's there, right? And probably one other would be I was in a meeting with a prospect about 2 months ago, and he said, we're actually in our ISO journey. We're looking to get 27001 certified. He said, and before reaching out to you, I'd already watched your video you did with a guy who specializes in that outside of your company, where he was talking about the process and the cost and blah, blah, blah. And he said, so yeah, I know who you guys are, and that was a great episode. Thanks for that. I'm like, oh my God, it works. This is so good. Like just perfect scenario, right? So yeah, actually that leads into me talking less and asking a question, which is, what was the chat around attribution like when it comes to content marketing? Like, how can you know if it's working in your view?
That's always the thing, right? Half the marketing is working, but which half, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to pay for it all.
Yeah. So,
well, obviously if you use tools like HubSpot, it has tons of metrics.
Yeah.
Right. We're all in on HubSpot, right? For the website and CRM, everything.
Yeah.
And so you can see on the page the conversions, the whole flow, right? So if they're coming in from AdWords or organic, which keywords, which pages, how's it going through? How are they engaging with emails, different pages?
Yeah, but it's hard to get. I think it's almost impossible to get real clear attribution from a cost perspective because it's not single touch. Like everyone's going to, you mentioned website. They've probably got a content they've watched. They've talked to a salesperson. Which one of those is the one that worked? That's
they may have been watching your videos for a year and done a demo, and then they see you at a trade show and like, all right, I'm in. So was it the trade show or?
Yeah, right? I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So that's where it gets hard. So my 2 cents is, and I was saying this to Ross on another chat a little while ago, is customer acquisition cost has to be seen as a whole, and you need to have a number that you work to that you're happy to have as a maximum. Shouldn't be a target, but it's not. You should be looking to reach that as an upper level. But if you can, let's say that you say, I'm happy to have a customer acquisition cost, a return on that cost of 1 year of my client, then great, you've got a number. And based on the size of the sale, you can work back from that. And then your salespeople costs, your marketing costs as a whole, that forms that CAC calculation. And that's the only way I've really got my head around it is understanding, and then are you not hitting budget? Like as a ecosystem of efforts, are you getting the outcomes? Doesn't mean you're going to know whether the video you created yesterday helped or not, but it's, you get the numbers and you're working with parameters. Do you think that lands at all?
Yeah, I just don't really think about attribution, right? Like, I just look at the individual things and is it working? So I look at my AdWords recently, I'm like, I can't really see that we're getting a whole lot of leads from it, so I cut it way back, my AdWords budget, right?
Yeah.
So we had a lot of like low intent keywords. So, for example, for us, we're an add-on for ConnectWise. That's the conference we're at now. But somebody's searching for ConnectWise, for me to pay for an ad is very low intent. They're not looking for a project management, agile, Kanban solution. So I'm like, let's just kill those low intent words. So it really reduces our traffic, but I want quality and not noise. Like
that's the thing, right? And if you're an MSP, as we are, and you're capturing really generic terms like just IT support Sydney or whatever, right? It's so hard to get the quality because they could be 2 seat, 10 seat, whatever.
Yeah.
So it does make it hard. I've actually a lot of conversations around pay per click. with a lot of MSPs from America, and it seems like it's a real dying thing. No one's really getting any results.
So I also own 2 MSPs. We haven't really talked about that, right? So the one is Crafty Penguins, and we are doing really well there on the AdWords.
Okay.
I think we spend like $4,000 a month.
What's the difference there then? What are you doing to successfully do
It's
that?
a very niche market.
Yeah, that
Actually,
always
it's a
helps.
big market. So we do exclusively Linux server support.
Oh, hence the penguin. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So coming together.
So it works. Like we're number 1 on actually organic and on paid.
That's awesome. But you're right. That's because you don't have that managed IT Sydney problem.
No.
You have, Linux support, whatever.
It's a global market.
Yeah.
I think we just pay for North America, but we get really juicy opportunities out of the US.
Cool. What about the other one then? The other MSP, how's that go?
AdWords can never get it working. So we killed it completely there.
There you go. So, okay. So
Right.
that's actually a really good A/B test, right? It's like, it's not that it's a terrible option. It's just that it's not good if you're not niche. Go niche and go nuts.
No.
But yeah.
And I think Google changed something in the last few years. Like other people have really noticed that too, that it's hard to get results on AdWords for your typical managed services.
It is interesting. Yeah, well, I gotta say that First Focus's whole strategy was inbound leads through marketing, through pay-per-click for the first 10 or so years of its existence, right? That was the whole strategy. And it's just, you could see the diminishing returns. So I've actually gone back and done about 2.5 years of reconciling what was the definition of an SQL through AdWords. And it's actually, it's down, but only slightly. The difference is that we used to not define SQL so tightly, but anyway, it's a boring chat. All right, cool. Any other sort of super interesting takeaways from your?
Other big one is video for testimonials.
Oh yeah, right.
So I've done 8 so far with clients. So I basically schedule time with them, basically in our online podcasting studio, and interview them for the results. And there's a specific format I use, or basically the client being the hero of their before and their after, the journey, unexpected results, obstacles, different things.
Yeah.
Because once you got a video testimony, again, you can repurpose it to shorts, to written, to tweets, different things.
Yeah.
So I've been working on leveraging those. Like I use it in my sales calls. It's on email sequences, new lead sequences, all over the place. I'm mentioning these things. I even got them on my trade show banners, talking about the results clients get.
Nice.
Making them the hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I invite them for...
Is that because you read that book by, I can't remember his name, but the guy who did how to craft a narrative, you picture the client.
Storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling, thank you. Yes.
Story brand, storytelling, yeah. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So have you had Ross on as a testimonial?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did right. The question for me is, how long are those videos you create? Are they punchy? You create like a 10-minute one and then break it up as required?
I might record it as 15 to 20 minutes. Like I record, I ask them the questions, so I try to make a dialogue, but I get cut out completely in the final result. It's all about them, and it's just a flowing, them talking.
That's cool. Yeah, look, I think with the proliferation of easy to create but terrible written content with AI, I just think videos, it's a no-brainer.
Yep.
The next part of the puzzle is to get comfortable being on camera, and that's hard for the clients you're talking to. They can be quite awkward. It's hard for business leaders to be comfortable. So I think that's, for me, the emerging skill gap that needs to be addressed in a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
So there you go, marketing opportunity.
Yeah, making the other person comfortable.
That helps definitely. Actually, one little trick, I don't know if this will help you or not, but I found that if someone is uncomfortable, you start the cameras recording, but don't tell them, and then you're just having a chat like this. And then when the camera's finally, when you say, oh, by the way, we're recording, they're like, oh, but they don't really change as much. If you go, okay, we're having a chat, okay, now we're going to record, they like get all tense, and it's a very different vibe. So that's my little hack if they're nervous. But anyway.
Yeah, I've record a lot of podcasts. People who do this all the time.
Yeah.
And then, so we record it, we're done, and then we talk for another 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, I wish I was recording still.
I know, I've done that so many times too. So I just, leave it running. It's not like you're paying by the minute or anything, and they come on things. So I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. Look, thanks. I really appreciate it. It's always really good to talk to someone who has a sharp take on marketing, has tried some stuff, has taken the time to learn and refine. So genuinely appreciate it. I felt like I've learned a lot over the last couple of conversations we've had.
I could keep going. You got me fired up. So
we should do we should do some sort of like a remote one. Or if you're ever over in Australia, come over and say good day. We've got a full-time studio space in our Brisbane office.
Wow.
But also we'll be here next year again, I'm sure. But yeah. All right. If anyone does want to talk to you about anything to do with marketing, or again, project and workflow management, given that is your MO, or if in fact they've got some Linux service that needs support, they find you where?
Yeah, obviously my LinkedIn will get me find all my websites and everything there, right?
Nice.
But top left is topleft.team. Pretty simple. And Crafty Penguins is craftypenguins.net.
Great name, by the
Or
way.
just search for Linux IT support and you'll find us. So.
Organic or paid? Top.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Good on you, Wim. All right, thanks, mate. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you, Brendan.